Have you ever thought about how villages came to be? A group of people living close to each other, maybe sharing places of work or worship. And in what village would you like to live in? If you'd ask me, I would definitely not live in a village where there's a lot of gossip, right? Where there's a lot of social control. People know and see every move that you make. I would not want to live in a village where the only place I feel safe is when I close that door behind me. I would love to, and I would rather live in a village where, well, I can be myself and be present about that as well. I can feel that I can connect with my neighbors, that we are a community of people working towards our goals, working towards my own purpose, and sharing that moment with each other, and ensuring that we can grow out of that. I would really love to work, like I said, in a community where there's a strong sense of belonging. And same thing goes for businesses. Businesses are villages, I like to say. Those businesses understand, and by research, we see that taking that time to know who you are as an organization, to know what your purpose is, taking that time to create a workplace where indeed everybody can be themselves, taking that time as an organization and taking the moment to create a community where people can share moments of life with amongst each other, well, that's what more and more people are seeking for. They're seeking and they're looking for their own village. And when they cannot get that, when they feel that the organization they live in is not where they can get that sense of belonging and that connection with each other, we get and we see symptoms of disengagement, disconnection, or they simply leave. So how can we solve it? It is by creating human businesses. Human businesses have a human-centered approach in everything they do. They are human, they act human, and they serve humanity. Human businesses are inclusive. They understand that every single one of us is unique. They manage that sense of uniqueness while fostering that sense of belonging. Human businesses are sustainable. And I'm not only talking about the ecological part of sustainability, I'm talking about the human part of sustainability. Human businesses take into account the human impact of every single decision that they make. Human businesses are authentic. They say what they do and they do what they say. And they might not always be perfect, but they strive to do what is the right thing every single day. Human businesses empower the human in their clients, in their employees, in their stakeholders, in society. And no matter if it's big or small, they serve humanity. And let me tell you, if you are the baker around the corner that loves to make your own croissants and give them out, or you are that big multinational that ships goods from one side of the world to the other, both have the potential to become human businesses. So how do we create that? How do we create strong, authentic human businesses? It requires reflection. Human businesses take the time to go to a deeper level of meaning and to really understand what their tune is, not everybody else's. They take the time to reflect and to ask themselves questions, such as, who are we? And why do we do what we do every single day? Is what we are doing right now aligned with our purpose, with our values? Are we actually contributing to society on a short term and on a long term? What is the smartest, the better, and the right thing to do? You see, becoming a human business is looking in the mirror and taking actions upon that. It is about reflection and action as a constant. And in a challenging business environment as we know it today, where things become complex, where the right thing might seem the right thing, but is not always the right thing. Do you follow? Yeah? Well, in those situations, it becomes pertinent to know where you are going. Human businesses re-engineer what they want and how they see it and how to get there. They take the time to create self-awareness, to understand their surroundings, take actions based on their values and purpose towards that. That's what we call the inner transformation. So, my clients sometimes tell me, well, Khadija, if it's about reflection, what's the fuzz? Well, those inner transformations are not easy, We still find it a lot easier to see business and human as two separate things. We go into that boardroom and we talk about KPIs and targets and results. And once we want to engage in that conversation when it is about purpose, where it is about values, well, let's do that on a sunny afternoon and a team building all together. Human businesses connect both. And they understand the value and the power when you go into that meeting room and you talk about the KPIs, and if we achieved our KPIs through our purpose and alongside our values. It is not easy. It is not easy to self-reflect as individuals, as organizations. It is actually quite tough to sometimes look in the mirror and to realize that who you think you are as an organization and how you are perceived and seen by the outside world might be two different things. It is not easy to look at yourself in the mirror and face your inner demons as organizations. And that requires a certain level of vulnerability. Once we go into that inner transformation as well, we see that it takes courage. It takes courage to see and to adapt to change. It takes courage, to understand that maybe even what is happening in this world and how it goes might be very hard to comprehend, but it is necessary for your organization to adapt to. And it is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to see and to reflect upon it. And it makes it a lot easier to do the things we've been doing all along, to go back to our natural state and to the systems in place. See, without that inner transformation, and in this business environment that is quite complex and challenging, we miss out on creating clear and strong reactions. So it is pertinent for organizations to take a step back, to really reflect, take actions upon the reflections before reacting. Or let me give you an example. We worked with, I will call them Company X for now, in the midst of the war for talent. And of course, the labor market and how they are experiencing is quite tight. It is with a high level of competition. And they had problems of indeed bringing in the right person at the right place and at the right time. So before becoming a human business, the way they handled that situation is every single time that someone leaves and it's about the same position and the vacancy comes open, they would react by putting that out there, having a new job description, ensuring that people can apply, that they can come in, go and send their CV, motivation letter, have different interviews, and they can start. And what happened is that, those people came in and left as fast as they came in, making it a lot harder to really understand what to do. So when they wanted to become human businesses, we asked them a couple of questions. The first question was really at understanding why they go into this process and how they see, themselves. Are they authentically, for instance, communicating who they are? What does the team think about their colleague that is leaving? What is needed to recruit every single time? Or can we go into other ways of thinking about it? Can we add a different perspective to it? Can we go further than the symptoms and go to the root causes? You see, by taking that moment, we were indeed able to go and see that the problem was not only the job description that needed to be filled in, but it was elsewhere in the organization on the level that had to do with company culture. And once we take that moment to reflect, we were indeed able to go beyond the symptoms and focus on the root causes. And by doing so, we were able to react on that situation, on the challenge that were there, with a suitable answer. So going through that inner transformation and connecting it with the natural reactive mode that we have ensures that we go into an outer transformation, leading to more solutions, a bigger impact, and at the end of the day, even more revenues. Because don't get me wrong, human businesses, they talk about revenues and profit as well, because they see it as the measuring stick for their impact. And that's what really matters. So, as you can see, going into that reflection mode, taking actions upon it, seeing that, let's say, inner transformation and connecting it with the outer transformation, that's where the power happens. Because that inner transformation is not the goal at itself. It's just a means to an end to ensure that the reactions that you have in those day-to-day challenges as a business are more powerful and ensure the growth that you want to entail as well. And once we connect them, it is not a linear process. No, rather it is a loop that really expresses the dynamic and the mutual alignment between the two separate and inherent drivers. That loop is called the infinity loop. And it gives you the ability to express who you really are. It gives you the time and space to understand how to build that collective identity and to go towards a collective intelligence as well. It is a mindset that organizations need and entail in order for them to keep on growing in an ever-changing world. And of course, this inner and outer transformation doesn't happen on its own. Rather, it is a process that needs steering by leadership. And it is really important that leaders have and understand that they need to create the right mindset for that, to create the space for that, and to have the right skill set in order to do so. To be inclusive in how they grasp the diversity of ideas, to have a workplace that is really important and that really values that inner transformation as well. How? That is for another TED Talk. Speaking it into existence, right? But what I really want to leave you with is that organizations boil down to people. And human businesses know and understand that like no other. That is their start. And they do the work. They look at themselves. They create their self-awareness. They see on how they can become better, understand their surroundings, challenging their own status quo. And while doing that, they take actions upon it, so they're able to react on every situation that there is. Ensuring that that inner transformation happens brings along an outer transformation that boosts the growth of their organization. And that's what we call the infinity loop. It is not something that happens on its own. Rather, it's a mindset. Not a one-shot exercise that needs to be done, but something that needs to be embedded in every process, in every day-to-day decision, every action plan you want to create or strategy you want to lay out. It is something that for us to succeed and for us to become human businesses, we need leaders to step up, be brave, and become owners of this process. Thank you so much for listening.